Prairie Run. What were your other two, or the other one? Schoolcraft, Prairie Run,
and Pavilion Township.
Pavilion. Thank you.
Charlton, Elmo, which one?
All right, we'll move those two, and then everyone else
Where
will
is
stay the same.
Wakeshma?
Way that way.
And I would
back.
tell you, they once
It's
a
about
month.
30. Yeah, they only meet once a month. So
And if you make it once a quarter, you'll be doing fine.
and they have a road millage too, so they got they're really good with their road funding.
Okay, I'm happy to go wherever.
Yep.
So, he's getting the better end of the deal.
We'll discuss this more during the meeting. Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order of the Board of County Road Commissioners of the County of Kalamazoo for the December 16th, 3 p.m. meeting. First order of business is public comment guidelines. Ms. Ryder.
This meeting is being provided under Act 267 of the Public Acts of 1976 as amended, or commonly referred to as the Open Meetings Act. During public comment, participants will have the opportunity to address the board at the beginning of the meeting and at the end of the meeting for non-agenda items. Public comments should be provided at the podium in order to ensure proper audio. Public comments, statements, or questions shall be limited to not more than 3 minutes for each person addressing the board. To provide public comment by Zoom, use the raise hand feature in the Zoom application. The host will ask you to unmute. For telephone audio, use *9. Use *6 to toggle back and forth between mute and unmute. As you participate in the meeting, your microphone will be placed on mute. The chat feature shall only be used to address any technical issues for public participation.
All right, if you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The goal of the Board of County Road Commissioners of the County of Kalamazoo is using our expertise, energy, and funds to provide the safest and most convenient road system possible and to contribute to the economic development and high quality of life throughout the county. Our goal is to maintain a county road system that is safe and convenient for public travel and to manage the roadside environment with a view towards preservation. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. A motion would be in order.
Motion to approve the agenda. Davis.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Davis with support to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion amongst the audience here in the building on the agenda or online? Seeing none, all our commissioners, any discussion amongst commissioners? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Next is the approval of the minutes. We have 3 sets of meeting minutes. The December 2nd board meeting, the December 2nd board work session, and the December 12th board road tour. I'd entertain a motion that we approve all 3.
So moved. Support.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Stayhauer with support to approve the minute meetings as presented. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections amongst the audience here in the building or online? Or amongst commissioners, corrections, additions, deletions? Hearing none, those all in favor of approving the December 2nd board meeting, December 2nd board work session, and December 12th board road tour, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Next is the approval of the payroll and vendor accounts. We had a payroll of $289,456.71. and vendor accounts of $655,830.73. A motion would be in order.
So moved. Thompson.
Is there support?
I'll support.
We have a motion by Commissioner Thompson with support to approve the payroll and vendor accounts as presented. Is there any questions amongst the audience here in the building or online? Managing Director.
So, Chair, just real quick, you'll also notice with this pay cycle that our payroll amount is extremely high. That is due to the multiple days of winter maintenance that we've had since Thanksgiving. And ironically enough, we had 2 holidays and our team worked 12-hour days, 7 days a week, including Sundays. So It's kind of the perfect storm with a lot of hours in this one pay cycle.
Thank you, and we appreciate their hard work during the holidays and the extra time as well. Any other discussion amongst commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the payroll and vendor accounts as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Now we'll come to public comment on non-agenda items. This is the first opportunity for the public to comment on non-agenda items. You'll have 3 minutes. Just give us your name and address if you'd like to speak. Anyone here in the building or online? There will be another opportunity later in the meeting. All right, seeing none. Going once, going twice. All right, we'll move on to the public hearing. We have a public hearing for 2026 draft budget. Do we need a motion to go into a public hearing? I would entertain a motion to go into a public hearing.
So moved.
Support. And I'll support.
We have a motion by Commissioner Thompson with support from Commissioner Kennedy to go into a public hearing. Do we need a roll call vote on that? Or is that?
I don't know, but just do it to be safe.
Okay.
All in favor?
Mr. Ryder, if you could do a roll call.
Commissioner Thompson
Yes.
and Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Stayhauer,
Yes.
and Commissioner Pulaski,
Yes?
Commissioner Kennedy.
Yes.
All right, we are in public hearing. The first item on the public hearing is the 2026 draft budget. Managing Director.
All right, well, first of all, I want to say thank you to our team. Little history with our draft budget for 2026. We were well on our way developing our budget based on what we assumed our revenue was going to be
In 2026, and we were enlightened by our state legislature that they approved a road funding package right midway through that process. So once that was approved, we shifted gears, assuming that those dollars would be available in 2026. We were being told that MDOT was going to provide us with a webinar on how those dollars would be rolled out and the schedule to do so in early November. Early November came along. We had postponed our workshop along the way, and we heard nothing. So with that, at the last minute, we had to shift gears again because we learned the day of our last board meeting that those dollars potentially would not be available until 2027 or at earliest late 2026. So in essence, we went through the budget process twice, but at the end of the day, we ended up with our original budget that we started with, or something very close to that. So again, thanks to our team for all the prep work. We also had our board budget work session a couple weeks ago, and I appreciate all their work on preparing for that. Before we get into the budget, I just want to take just a second to talk through our and summarize our new transportation funding. So there's really a few components to this. We have the Motor Fuel Tax Act, and basically what that did is increased the price per gallon on the gas tax for roads from 31 cents a gallon to 51 cents a gallon, and that is at this point still supposed to be effective January 1, 2026. So once that's in place, by March we'll start seeing that revenue flow in. The Income Tax Act from 2015 was eliminated. That was about $600 million that went to different road agencies throughout Michigan. We actually took a hit on that. We think at this point it's going to be about $1.25 million for us that will hit our 2025 budget. And then the next piece is the corporate income tax. That is looking to be about $688 million. But at this point, we don't know exactly when we'll see the first payment. The last we've heard unofficially from the County Road Association is potentially late 2026. We don't know if that's a monthly payment, if that's an annual payment. We have no idea. And then, of course, there's the wholesale excise tax on or the transfer of marijuana, on the sale of the transfer. That's approximately $420 million. Again, we don't know exactly where that's in the mix, that we know it's being challenged um, through the court system currently. I did read a news article the other day that the judge had made a decision to allow that tax to happen as of January 1st. So, not that the case is closed, we just don't believe there's going to be a lawsuit and potentially go to the Supreme Court. So, this could get drug out over a considerable amount of time. But from what we're learning from CRA, again, unofficially at this point, is if we see those dollars, it probably won't be until early 2027. So, with all that being said, all of our new road funding is really another year out, and with our new motor fuel tax that we're going to receive, hopefully we're supposed to be back at the same level of funding that we were in 2025 by October of 2026. So it'll catch up by that time. So that's a little bit on what's in our future. So moving on to our draft 2026 budget. So our budget assumes a Michigan Transportation Fund increase of approximately 1%. So it's a very minor increase for 2026, which would total $28.7 million is what we anticipate. Now again, just so the board's aware, these are not guaranteed dollars. This is just what we think we're going to receive through the taxes that are received. Moving on with other revenue, we have federal and state grants. For 2026, those will total $9.9 million. 4.5 of that, 9.9, is coming from the Safe Streets for All, the SS4A program. So that's a federal program. On the township revenue side, so the townships participate in our local road projects, and they do that by matching our participation funds. So we anticipate that our townships will be status quo, and all 15 townships would contribute at the same level that they did in 2025. On the expenditure side, so what we call our CIP, which is our primary road capital improvement plan, it includes $17.1 million worth of projects. We'll get into those details in the CIP portion of the public hearing. And then on the local side, the 2026 draft budget includes $9.6 million for preservation and preventive maintenance expenditures. So that's our local road paving, chip seal, crack fill type projects. And then with that, our PAR funds are included in that. We have increased our PAR funds in 2026 from 2.3 million, which is what it currently is in 2025, to 2.5 million in 2026. And I will say, in 2025, we also had some ARPA dollars that came through the Ashtabula Township for road projects. Those, I won't say will be gone, but are minimal at this point. There was some savings on that project, and the county is allowing us to transfer them with the township to additional projects in Alamo, local road projects, but it's a very minimal amount. On routine maintenance, our total expenditure is expected to be $10.5 million in 2026. It's actually a slight decrease from 2025. We recently have done a lot of work with tree removals to try to catch up service requests. So we had to make an adjustment in our budget amendment to do that. And then on the wages and fringe, I just want to point out the major piece of this, which is the cost of living increase we're recommending for all staff. So that's both road commission staff, administrative type staff, along with our road maintenance operators and mechanics, which are under a collective bargaining agreement. So it would be the exact same cost of living increase for all staff. Capital outlay. We have that at 1.8 million for 2026. That's higher than usual. Usually it's somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million. But we're also rolling dollars ahead from a purchase where the board approved here this fall for 2 cabin chassis that won't be billed at the earliest until late 2026. Fund balance. So to be prudent, we keep an amount of assigned dollars, reserve dollars available, a whole year's payment in interest on our new facility. So that's approximately $3.3 million that we hold just as a safety net. So we have a year's worth of payment ahead. And then just to point out, our organizational goal for our unassigned fund balance is 20 to 25%. The budget that we are presenting is at 21% for 2026. So with that, we're recommending the board amend the 2025 adopted budget resolution along with amendment number 2, which we'll talk about as part of the regular board meeting once we get to that item.
Questions from, from the public first, since it's a public hearing. Any questions on the 2026 draft budget from the public? Here in the building or online? All right, we'll get into the next part of our public hearing, the 2026 through 2030 draft primary road capital improvement plan review. Managing Director.
All right, so just moving ahead with the primary road capital improvement plan, also known as our CIP. It includes reconstruction and rehabilitation projects along with mill and resurface, safety type projects, bridge projects, preventive maintenance, and non-motorized projects. The total of our 5-year plan investment is a little over $113 million throughout the 5 years, with the Road Commission contributing a little over $70 million of that. Our recommended expenditures for the 2026 year by project type include our safety program, Safe Streets for All, our SS4A program, about $6.2 million in 2026. Our road reconstruction and resurface program is $4.4 million. Non-motorized, $3.9 million. Bridge and culverts, just over $1 million. Traffic signals, $212,000. Project design, about $1.1 million. Chip seal, $3.7 million. Crack fill, $250,000. And some hot mix asphalt wedging for $35,000. So totaling that all together, our primary road CIP for 2026 totals almost $21 million. We do have a little bit of good news. Just anticipating the revenue that could be coming in 2027. If it does, we anticipate that we could put approximately another $4.5 million towards our primary road capital improvement plan in the future. Currently, we have an organizational goal of maintaining our road system in 90% good condition, along with our bridges, our bridge network at 95% in good to fair condition. Currently, our road surface condition on the primary network is at 81%. So we're not currently hitting our goal with the road surface at this point, but our bridges are right on track at 95% in good condition. Our proposed 2026 to 2030 draft primary road CIP includes 116 miles of primary roads receiving HMA improvements, which is an average of about almost 22 miles a year. But in our 2026 year, we can only do 8.69 miles, so significantly less since our revenue that we're anticipating is not available at this time. At this point, I guess I can take questions, or if there's questions for the board from the public.
We'll start with the public. Any public comments or questions on the 2026 to 2030? Sorry to say 2030 draft primary road capital improvement plan. Here in the audience, in the building, or online. Then Commissioners, we can either do some questions now or we'll get into new business and do it then. It's up to you.
I have a quick,
Yep,
just
go
a quick
ahead,
question.
Commissioner
also,
Davis,
everyone. So, I'm looking at 2026 preventative maintenance projects. Let's see a page number. It's, I'm just looking at the chip seal page and, noticing that there's a significant difference in costs between 1 mile of chip seal on one road and 1 mile of chip seal on another.
Mhm.
What tends to account for the differentials in the costs of, for 1 mile of road on one
Absolutely,
for instance,
absolutely.
we've got
So there's
Stadium Drive, they're at, it's $151,000 a mile. And then, we've got, 6th Street, it's only $90,000 a mile. So it's like,
yeah, there's two major factors. One significantly major factor, and that's the width of the road. So a mile, it may be a 2-lane road, right? It could be a 3-lane road, 4-lane road, or we have 5 lanes. Matter of fact, we have sections of road, I think they're 6-7 lanes wide. So 9th Street south of M43 has a lot of turn lanes in it, right? So that's the primary reason why the significant difference.
okay, so it wouldn't be inappropriate, for instance, to have another column here that says square footage versus mile.
Yeah, and we work on square yards, so absolutely, and that's how it's all calculated.
Right,
yes.
okay, that helps. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
One more piece to that also, though, is we have 2 separate treatment types for chip seal. So we're using 2 different aggregate sizes, which are very similar in cost, but the amount of asphalt emulsion that we would use is significantly less with the smaller stone. So that does reduce the cost, so that may play a factor in it too.
And then on the preservation structural improvement projects, one of the projects taking the lion's share of that is the Comstock Avenue project at 2.7 mil. So there's a mile there at that, and then the next project that might be comparable to that is is the U Avenue Prairie Ronde. It's 11 miles and it's 1.4 mil. So again, these may not just be we may not be looking apples to apples in order to do comparisons on there, but they're both HMA overlay, and I'm just curious as to, I guess the one has curb and drainage improvements.
It does. So,
So
these are
differential in cost.
our state and federally funded projects, right? So they do come with additional cost just going through that program. But a good example is the Comstock Ave project. There is a significant amount of work replacing curb, drainage improvements, just realigning, resetting the crown, I should say, in the road. It's a very, very old road, been overlaid numerous times. So there's a lot of work to get back to something that we can build on top of. So that does take a lot of time. Then you have, obviously, is a long section of road. That's an SS4A project.
Yeah, and I realize that the treatment explanation of each of these is very truncated, so that's why I was just asking a couple of questions. Thanks.
And then also, and we'll get into it later on in the regular board agenda, but we have the agreement to approve for the Comstock Ave project on our agenda today.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Just to add on that, so that $2.7 million Comstock Avenue project, we're getting $1.6 million other funding, and we're only having to pay 1.1.
Of course,
Yep.
right.
Yep. And the same with the U Avenue. 1.4 million. We're getting almost $1 million in funding, and we only have to come up with 400,000. So good out there hustling for grants and all that kind of stuff. So, there you go. Any other questions, commissioners? If not,
I just have one more.
Sure, go ahead.
On over the overall projection of the budget over the 5 years. Was there a inflation multiplier that was used across some of these numbers? I noticed that we're beyond the chip, the preventative maintenance projects in 29 are basically flat against 28. And there's only like a 1% increase for inflation in that.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb, but for further clarification, Jim Hookster, our assistant county engineer, who puts this together, I think can probably better describe that. But I believe, yes, there is a minor increase.
Jim Hoster, Assistant County Engineer. Yes, there is an inflation percent carried on every year, so I think it's about 3 to 5% per year. So that does account as you move out further years, things are a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
If I can jump back to Comstock, the other thing with Comstock is we are looking at significant sewer lining as well. So a lot of the project will involve a lot of underground work, lining sewer pipes. So that's why that one's more expensive.
Good. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Alrighty. Any other public comment before we close the public hearing and get into new business?
So,
Managing
Chair, just
Director, yes.
one thing to add, and we can talk about it, I suppose, on the regular board agenda too. But while we're on the topic, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, so the 5-year plan does not have contingency projects per se in it, because when the board approves the plan, right, the board approves all the projects in the plan, so that allows movement of projects forward. So if we have dollars available, we can just pull those up and get them completed in hopefully that same construction year. So there may be opportunities, I guess I'm saying this fall, for additional revenue, and short notice we might be able to pull up some small overlay type projects into 2026 from 2027.
Good. Very good. All right. Any other public comments on the public hearing? If not, we'll close the public hearing and we'll move into new business. I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing. Moved by Commissioner Thompson, supported by Vice Chair Stayhauer. Any discussion amongst commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor of closing the public hearing say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries. Public hearing is now closed. We will now move into new business. All right, first item under new business is request approval of the Michigan Department of Transportation contract 25-5583. Managing Director.
All right, so this is our typical contract with Michigan Department of Transportation for preservation type improvements on Comstock Avenue from Sprinkle Road to River Street. This agreement would utilize what we call STP dollars, or Surface Transportation Dollar Program dollars. The project includes hot mix asphalt, cold milling, grading, hot mix asphalt paving, some sub-base and an aggregate base, some drainage, concrete curb and gutter, permanent signing, pavement markings, and of course all the altogether necessary related work to finish the project. So with that, we are recommending the board approve the Michigan Department of Transportation contract number 25-5583 for the chair's signature.
All right, a motion would be in order.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Thompson. Is there support? We have support, motion and support to approve the Michigan Department of Transportation contract 25-5583. Is there any discussion amongst the audience here in the building on this item? Or online? Or amongst commissioners? Commissioner comments, questions? Hearing none, we will call for a vote. All in favor of approving the Michigan Department of Transportation contract 25-5583 say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. That'll take us to the second item under new business, and this is what we just discussed, the 2025, well, we do a new one here, a budget amendment resolution number 2 and the 2026 draft budget. We'll start with a motion first. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the 25 budget amendment resolution number 2.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any we'll go with Managing Director.
All right, I just have one thing to add, and it's related to the budget amendment number 2 for 2025.
Thank you.
This assumes an MTF is reduced by the $1.25 million for the fourth quarter, as we discussed earlier, which would total anticipated revenue, MTF revenue for 2025, now at $27.1 million.
All right, any discussion amongst the audience here in the building? Or online? Or amongst commissioners? Any commissioner comments? Commissioner Kennedy?
So does that mean we have to go back and redo our motion?
No.
No change, okay.
No, this motion will amend the budget
Okay,
for
just
twenty
making sure.
twenty-five.
Thank
Yep.
you.
And that'll account for the $1.25 million we lost. Any other comments? Question? Vice Chair.
Here,
Yep,
the
go ahead.
motion, was the motion including the draft 2026 budget, or we're just dealing with the?
That was my intent.
Yep, yes, it's, the motion would be for both to, do the 2025 budget amendment and approve the 2026 draft budget is the motion, unless you want to split them.
I'm good with that.
Okay,
Just wanted to clarify.
yep, okay. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the 2025 budget amendment resolution number 2 and the 2026 draft budget, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. All right, next is the approval of the 2026 through 2030 primary road capital improvement plan. A motion would be in order.
Motion to approve.
Support. We have a motion by Commissioner Davis with support. Managing Director, anything to add?
I do not have anything additional.
Is there any questions amongst the audience here in the building on this item or online or amongst commissioners? Any further questions? Commissioner Thompson?
I just want us approving this. It still is open if something needed to change, moved up or moved back, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if it's in the plan, staff would have the flexibility of moving it up without having to come back to the board. That's
Wanna
correct.
make sure there was that.
Now, if we change the amount of dollars in the plan, we have to come back to the board. Mhm.
Right. Any other discussion, questions, commissioners? Vice Chair?
I just appreciate the work done to lay this out for 5 years, and of course, we all look at it and say, where's the road I drive? And we look at which year it's in, hopefully, and so I have my sight on a future year to resolve. But probably they're working on looking to see if there's any state or federal grants too. So anyway, yeah. So appreciate all the work there.
Yep, I'm always interested in looking for bridges and bridge repair, and I do see we have a bridge removal in Waukesha, which is good. All right, it's good in the fact that you got to remove that before you put a new one in. So paraphrase that, or rephrase that, I should say.
Well, and I may.
Commissioner Davis, yeah.
There are at least 3 other potential funding sources through for bridges, for railroad crossing overheads, and for infrastructural project fund that of itself it has $65 million in there that they put forward. We talked a little bit about this with the managing director but these are probably going to be competitive grants of some sort by the Michigan Department of Transportation. They may not have some of that would augment to what we're trying to do here, but I think it's something that we'll keep an eye open on as this funding environment continues to change.
Yep. Yes, it is a competitive process. So yes, we are competing with a lot of other entities for those funds. All right. Any other questions on the 2026 through 2030 primary road capital improvement plan?
Maybe
Vice
we
Chair.
should just highlight
Sure.
this, SS4A funding is driving
A lot.
our primary road projects. If you scan the funding sources, you'll see that reoccurring over and over, and it's causing us to allocate a lot of our primary road funds. We have to match 30%, if my memory's right, so it's driving, as we intended, a lot of our primary road funds to those projects, but we pick up 70% funding from the Fed, so that's very good. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Vice Chair. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the 2026 through 2030 primary road capital improvement plan, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Next is the approval of the draft 2026 organizational performance measures. Managing Director.
Okay, I assume the board all has the draft goals in front of them. I just want to share, I guess I'll just go down the list. There's not a lot of changes from last year. Actually, I don't think there's really much of anything that's significant, but just to point out in the different areas, safety and road quality, we talked before, the condition of our roads, including our gravel roads, our target's 90% good condition, bridges 95%. Innovation, we have a goal of one trial per year, which we've well exceeded that historically. Michigan Transportation Fund unassigned fund balance, we talked about of 20 to 25%. So we're within range for 2026. I will say we're looking at changing that potentially for 2027 as our revenue continues to grow. A lot of that revenue is going to be focused on primary and local road projects. So to keep a larger fund balance due to that type of revenue, we don't need it to necessarily maintain 3 months worth of operating, so we may look at lowering that to some degree. We've had some discussions with our auditors about that, and they feel pretty comfortable with it also. So that probably is going to get reduced in the future. Also under fiscal responsibility is funding our retirement, pension, and healthcare plans at 100%, which we've done very well over the years. So pretty good shape there. Public service, service requests, very key to our organization. So we have some response timelines, 20 days for priority 1, 40 days for priority 2, and 80 days for priority 3. Winter maintenance response, our goal is within 48 hours after the end of the significant event. So once the snow stops, to have provided service to our entire road network. Right away permits, our policy says 10 to 14 business days to get those issued. We updated that last year in our organizational goals to just say 10 business days. So the policy still stays the same, but we're trying to go beyond the policy and see if we can't tighten up that window. Team building, employee engagement, 2 or more opportunities a year. For recruitment, time of qualified resume to receipt of interviews, average of 5 business days. Community outreach, by the end of we have 2025, but we need to update this. 2026, complete a minimum of 20 community outreach opportunities. Social media campaigns, 4 per year. Road commissioner, community outreach, a minimum of 1 township board meeting as their respective liaison quarterly, which I'm sure the board's well aware of that. And then on communications and social media, an average of 10 informational and educational posts per week. So that's our goals, that's our performance metrics for the year. I'm happy to take any questions.
Well, we'll start with the motion first. A motion would be in order.
So moved, Thompson.
Is there support? Support with Vice Chair. Questions for the Managing Director? Or we'll start with the audience here in the building. Any questions about this item? Or online? Or commissioners, questions? I know that our board work session, we discussed a lot of things. I know a focus was service requests and high priority for this board. So I agree with these measures, and hopefully we can meet them in 2026. Any other Vice Chair?
I'll just add regarding service request, there's been a couple of calls I've taken in the last couple of weeks, and I've always made a point to people there to, please turn in a service request, explain how to do it if they're unfamiliar with it. And sometimes as you interact with people, they appreciate that guidance to be aware they can do that. So, and then to me, it's really important that the people submit those get feedback. So when you have a personal conversation with them. In this case, they're calling, so that's occurring, but it's a follow-up, so thank you.
Yep. Any other questions, comments from commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the draft 2026 organizational performance measures, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. All right, that'll take us to item E, request approval of the revised board policies, non-motorized, bereavement leave, holiday, performance incentive policy, salary performance review policy, and sick leave. Managing Director.
All right, so these policy adjustments were all reviewed at our work session. There was some minor feedback that staff took into account, but I'll take these a piece at a time and just summarize the changes with each policy. Non-motorized facilities, really all we're recommending to do here is remove the application from the policy itself. In doing so, the policy would be available, the application would be available online. So we're going to remove the application from the policy, make the application available online for the public to fill out ahead of the project, or they could turn it in with the project. At times, we have townships and organizations actually submit these applications years in advance of the project, just to kind of get the ball rolling, put us on notice, get on our planning side to try to fit those in our CIPs if we can coordinate projects. So really we're just taking the application out of the policy and making it a standalone document. Okay, moving on, unless there's questions on that.
Questions?
Any questions on
Commissioners? Okay, nope.
All right, moving on to HR related policies. So bereavement leave. Really what we've done here is moved the parent, present step parent, and parent of the employee's present spouse from 3 days of paid leave time to 5 days worth of paid leave time. Any questions on that one?
Questions?
That's the only change.
Nope.
All right, under holidays, and this is really related to the floating holiday. So with our current policy, with new hires, there was no floating holiday opportunity if you were hired after September 30th of that year. This policy adjustment would allow, because we currently have 2 floating holidays a year, would allow an opportunity for employees that are hired after September 30th, but before December 15th, to have 1 floating holiday that calendar year. So it gives just a little bit of an opportunity for a new hire to actually have a floating holiday. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, the next 2 policy adjustments, performance incentive and salary performance review. Really the changes there is simply we changed to a different performance evaluation form, and the performance evaluation form we were previously using was tied to this policy. It actually mirrored it. So we're just updating it so it mirrors our new performance evaluation form. So when those opportunities are available for incentives, they match what the policy says. Any questions there?
Questions? Nope. Nope. Continue.
All right, moving on. Sick leave. So sick leave, we're proposing in this policy adjustment. So currently all of our employees actually have 12 paid sick days per year. And if our employees currently don't use those sick days, they're paid out annually at 50%. If they use them, they're paid out 100%. We, in negotiations with our CBA through Teamsters, we agreed to pay 100% payout for unused sick time. And really the goal there is the employees that do come to work and don't use the sick time would actually generate as many dollars as those that would use it. So really, it's an incentive to come to work and minimize the use of sick time. So really, this policy adjustment would make it consistent with our collective bargaining agreement to pay 100% of any unused sick time throughout the year. One other piece to the sick leave policy is payout when an employee retires or is deceased. So those sick leave dollars would be prorated for the year, so 1 day per month, and then the unused sick leave would be paid out at 100% based on that prorated amount of any unused sick time. So very consistent with the payout for active employees. And that's it for the policy.
All right. A motion would be in order before we get to the discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the request for approval of revised board policies A through F.
I'll approve, I'll second, sorry.
We have a motion by Commissioner Davis with support from Commissioner Kennedy to approve the revised board policies. Is there any discussion amongst the audience here in the building or online about these? Commissioners, any questions? We kind of covered all this under the board work session. And
Yeah,
Commissioner Davis.
I just want to say thanks to the staff for
Yes.
having our board work session was great, and the policies were well thought out, and the information they provided was really useful.
Other comments? Vice Chair?
One other observation, I think we're really looking to recruit, retain. So I think I see proactive parts in our policies there to help us have a good workforce and a well-compensated one.
Yep. Great. And if you're sick, please stay home.
And if you're not sick, please come to work.
Yes.
Right, that's the point of the
It is.
Nice.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments from commissioners? If not, all in favor of approving the board revised policies, items A through F, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. All right. Item F, request approval of 2026 board chair and vice chair. This is the time of the year we do 1-year terms for these positions so that we all know they're not 2-year terms. But I will entertain a motion to open up nominations. Or I'll just, I'll open up nominations.
Request approval. I'd like to nominate the current chair, Dave Pulowski, to serve another year, and Larry Strohauer as vice chair.
All right. Is there
I'll
support?
support that.
All right. Any discussion amongst the audience here in the building? Or I'll suppose before we get there, any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? All right. Any discussion amongst the audience here in the building? Or online? Or amongst commissioners? Do you accept, Vice Chair?
I'm willing.
Okay, I will accept as well. Thank you, and I appreciate that, Commissioner Davis. Thank you for those words. If there's no other discussion, all in favor of approving myself as chair and Larry Stahauer as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. All right, that'll take us to the request approval of the 2026 Committee Township Representation for Board Members. Managing Director, do you want anything to add? Or
Yeah, just real quick for the
Sure.
public. So currently, Commissioner Pulowski serves as the liaison for Brady, Kalamazoo, and Texas. Commissioner Stahauer serves for Comstock, Oshtemo, and Ross. Commissioner Thompson serves for Climax, Cooper, and Waukesha. Commissioner Davis serves for Alamo, Charleston, and Richland. And Commissioner Kennedy serves for Pavilion, Payroll, and Schoolcraft Townships. Also, committee assignments, obviously the chair and vice chair serve as leadership on this board. Kalamazoo County Parks and Recreation Commission, Commissioner Stahauer serves there. Alternate currently is Commissioner Kennedy. Kalamazoo County Environmental Health Advisory Council, also known as EHAC. Commissioner Davis serves there. Alternate is Commissioner Pulowski. In the Kalamazoo County Board of Public Works, Commissioner Thompson serves on that committee, and then the alternate is Commissioner Kennedy. That's current 2025.
Okay. All right, I know that, talking to Commissioner Kennedy and Commissioner Thompson, we were gonna do a couple township switches on those, but, Commissioner Davis and Vice Chair Steele are good with their current townships?
I'm good with my current townships and my current, committee appointment.
Okay, thank you. I will also keep my commissioner, or my current assignments as well. So, with the slight switch is Commissioner Thompson's gonna keep Cooper and Climax, but it's gonna get Schoolcraft Township instead of Waukesha. And then Commissioner Kennedy is gonna have Prairie Run, Pavilion, and then Waukesha instead of, Schoolcraft. So we broke up Schoolcraft and Prairie Run because they happen on the same day at the same time. And with that, we'll keep the other assignments the same for Commissioner Davis, Vice Chair Stayhauer, and myself for townships. As far as committee assignments, I see no change and have none requested, so we will keep everybody the same. Commissioner Davis at EHAC, Commissioner Thompson at Board of Public Works, Vice Chair Stayhauer with Parks and Rec, and then alternate Commissioner Kennedy for Parks and Recs, Commissioner Kennedy for Board of Public Works, and myself for EHAC. A motion, Environmental Health Advisory Council Committee. Our chair, Supervisor Sorensen's in the room. Is that committee or council, EHAC? That's committee. So Environmental Health Advisory Committee. All right.
So,
Yep, go ahead.
am I?
No,
Just
yep, perfect
informal?
time.
Okay, so I just want to be sure that I think you said Waukesha is Tuesday, but Prairie Run is Tuesday, isn't it?
They're Monday.
Can we just make sure what dates they are?
We'll double check. We'll catch my please Monday.
Because it'd be hard to change.
Actually, the township supervisor's on. If he can,
Yes,
he can change.
Jason, if you,
Jason.
Supervisor Gatlin, if you could chime in on when your meetings are. He might be out in the field right now and just watching us on.
So it's the first Monday of the month.
First
one.
Monday.
Okay.
Yep.
I've only been to one.
First
All right.
Monday, and then Prairie Run is Tuesday.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am grateful for that.
Yep, no problem. Any other discussion amongst commissioners or questions? Vice Chair?
Do we need a motion there?
Yep, we will get to a motion here in a second.
So it's Prairie Run, Waukesha, just trying to make sure I'm
Yep.
where I'm supposed to be,
And Pavilion.
and Pavilion. And Pavilion
Pavilion meets
It's
twice a
Tuesday.
month, I believe, too.
Tuesday,
Okay.
right? Come on, guys.
All right, I mean, looking for Pavilion.
I think Prairie Run.
Pavilion Estates comes from.
One of them.
Second Monday? Thank you, second Monday.
Okay. And then Prairie, Waukesha is the first Monday.
Correct.
Thank you.
And Prairie Run is the second Tuesday, I'm pretty sure.
Second Tuesday. Okay.
Mhm.
And then alternates for parks and public works.
Yep.
So the only thing I'm asking is that I would like the paperwork from public works
Okay.
and to be sent to me as well.
Yep,
So
we'll
that
have
if
to
I have to step in, I would at least
Yeah.
like to be able to at least have
Yeah,
some
we'll-
knowledge.
We'll communicate that with the county, so the county actually sends that information
it's the
out. But
county,
we'll make sure
okay.
that you're on their email
We
list.
actually have a meeting Thursday morning
We'll
at
take
9
care of
o'clock.
Thank
And
you.
they meet quarterly,
Yeah.
whereas
Yeah.
Parks and Recs meets monthly.
Yeah.
And then there's some times where they cancel Board of Public Works if there's
Yes.
no business.
Okay. Well, they got a lot going on, so we wanna.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Nope. A motion would be in order
Motion to approve, the,
as presented.
as presented, the
Perfect.
committee membership and township representation.
Yep, you got it.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Davis with support. Any discussion amongst the audience here in the building about these appointments? Or online? Or any further discussion from commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the committee and township representation assignments, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Very good. Thank you, everyone, for working through that, and the audience for being patient as we publicly deliberated our decisions. All right. Next would be item H, request approval of the 2026 board meeting schedule. Managing Director.
All right, so annually our board sets our board meeting schedule. Historically, we have met every other Tuesday. So in 2026, our first meeting would be January 13th and be every other Tuesday after that. We do have to have a meeting every other Tuesday because we have to approve payroll and vendor accounts. So we need a quorum here to do that. So with that, the board has in front of them the meeting schedule, the proposed meeting schedule for 2026.
All right, a motion would be in order.
So moved.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Stayhauer. Is there support?
Second.
We have the support to approve the 2026 meeting schedule. Is there any questions or discussion amongst the audience here in the building on our 2026 schedule or online? Anybody online? Commissioners, any questions? I know we meet every 2 weeks. It's a good way to keep up on top of the budget and all that stuff that we need to do. We're unique as that we meet every 2 weeks where most boards only meet twice a month. So I like the fact that we do meet every 2 weeks. But, Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, if we're gonna meet on my birthday, who's gonna bring the cake?
So I have not seen that
I don't know the
yet,
answer to that.
so
Haven't
I
seen
can't. The dates, and so I'm using his computer now. Do you have a copy of it, sir?
Let me see.
Electronic.
I have a copy right here.
Can I just look at it, please?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you, and if you could allow me just a moment.
Yep, absolutely. Take your time. A couple of just things that why we meet at 3 o'clock is our staff here works their regular scheduled work day goes till 4 o'clock, and so it was found through the years that this was the best time for us to meet, with staff having to be here and not having to do overtime as well. And then we pay our paydays on Monday, and so that's why we meet on Tuesday too. That's the other reason to prove the payroll vendor account.
So on December 29th,
Mhm.
that's a thing too?
Yep. Yes,
Okay.
it is a thing.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm just asking because it's so close to, okay.
So we will meet again 2 weeks from now, which is the 30th, December 30th. I will not be here, but Vice Chair Stayhauer will be running the meeting.
Yeah, we'll have to figure all that out.
But yeah.
Same with
Okay,
CRA.
thank you very much, and thank you for your patience with
Yep,
me.
no problem. Absolutely. Any other discussion about the 2026 board meeting schedule? Anything to add, Managing Director?
Nothing else.
All in favor of approving the 2026 board meeting schedule, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Next is item I, request to establish the managing director, chief executive officer as clerk and superintendent. Managing Director.
All right, so items I and J are annual duties of our road commission. First of all, to select our clerk and superintendent, which would be the managing director. And then also, as we move into J, to establish our chief county engineer, which would be our county engineer, currently Ryan Minkus.
All right, we will do item 8I first. The request to establish the managing director, chief executive officer as clerk and superintendent. I would entertain a motion that the board establish Travis Bartholomew, managing director, to fulfill the statutory functions as clerk and superintendent.
I'll make that motion.
A
Thompson.
second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Thompson with support to approve item I. Is there any discussion amongst the audience here in the building or online? Hearing none, commissioners, any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say approving item I, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Very good. That'll take us to item J, request to establish the chief county engineer, managing director, or, well, you already kind of covered that.
Yeah, it's the same. It's our annual statutory duty. So
So I will entertain a motion that we establish Ryan Minkus as the county engineer to fulfill the statutory functions as chief engineer.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Stayhauer with support to establish, to approve item J. Is there any discussion amongst the audience here in the building or online? Hearing none, all in favor of approving item J, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. All right, that was, thank you folks for a very detailed agenda. I appreciate it. And now we will get into, let me find my other sheet. There we go. Now we get into, yes, second opportunity for public comment on non-agenda items. This is another opportunity for the public to speak on non-agenda items. You have 3 minutes. Just give your name and address if you'd like to speak. Anybody online or here in the building would like to speak? If not, online, is anybody online like to speak?
Yeah,
Supervisor,
Dave.
yes, go ahead, Supervisor.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So I just want to make the board aware, because there was a public dialogue at the last Adjournment Township meeting, that the Adjournment Township board has requested a joint meeting of alongside the road commission board, and I'm asking, how would be the best way to request that meeting? How would you like us to send that information?
Sure. Send it to staff. Of course, our policy is to meet with the townships at least once a year in a joint meeting, so we'd be happy to do that. But yes, send that request to staff, and they will work with you and your team to get us on your calendar.
I appreciate that, and I think our board is requesting more of than an update from the road commission. There's going to be items to discuss, so I feel like there might be an agenda, and I just want to make you all aware of that, Chair.
Yes, please share that agenda if you could with our staff so that we can have the best answers and have your questions hopefully answered before we get there. But yes, that would be very helpful if you could share that information with our staff.
All right, thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Thank you. We look forward to meeting with your team. All right. Any other public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none. All right. That'll take us to Managing Director's time. Managing Director.
all right, a few items this afternoon. First of all, tomorrow is a rather busy day. We have CATS policy at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Also, there's breakfast at 8, right? I know Commissioner Thompson usually goes to that. Mark and I'll also be attending. And then at 10 o'clock is the Township Supervisors meeting. That's at Central Dispatch this month.
Yep.
That starts at 10 a.m. That's at Stadium Drive and 8th Street. Yep, so we're going to eat twice. So. But you have to hurry, because it's 9 o'clock CATS policy. You got to be over on the west side of town by 10. So,
Okay.
yeah, you'll eat good there. So, and if we're going to have more than 2 commissioners, we got to make sure we post it. So,
No, I'm in Lansing, so I think it's just Commissioner Thompson and Vice Chair Stayhauer will be at the Township Supervisors meeting.
okay.
It's up to you.
Commissioner Thompson, are you planning to go to supervisors as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you planning?
So I can go and I can go to the cats, but not. I mean, I can't go. I have a meeting here at 9:15. You want me to go to that one? Is somebody available to go?
To the CATS meeting? I don't.
So you don't even have to go. It's more as a guest to see. But
Yeah, I'm okay going to that one.
Okay.
You know, learning and
Yep.
just. But 9 o'clock, the supervisors meeting. If no one else is available,
Yep. No, Commissioner Thompson and Vice Chair Stayhauer are
Aye.
already going.
perfect.
Yeah, and it's okay if you want to go. We just need to publicly notice it.
No.
So, but in the future, just keep that in mind.
They
If
keep
you ever
good
want to
notes.
go. Yes. Okay. Man,
all right, a few more items. I just want to thank commissioners participating in our holiday potluck last week. So we had a good time with the team. Also, we had a road tour afterwards. So great opportunity there also. And I also want to say thanks to our team. 3 weeks of winter weather, and it's technically not even winter. Um,
Still
we blew through our winter budget for 2025, well beyond. So hopefully, crossing our fingers, we won't have to come back to the board with another budget amendment due to that. So time will tell. We just need a few days to get it figured out. Also, I just want to share with the board, we did not have our quarterly liaison meeting in the fourth quarter. We just struggled getting it scheduled with county board liaisons, but we are continually working at that now to try to get something on the books here for first quarter of 2026. So as soon as Selena knows something, we'll get it on your calendars. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, we have a new road maintenance operator in the room. So I have Levi McClish. How many weeks on the job? 5th week on the job.
Welcome.
So welcome to Levi. Levi also worked for us as a contractor, underneath a contractor previously, so he does have some experience plowing snow. So one of his checklist things is to come to a board meeting, so he's trying to complete his checklist really fast here.
So you've been here 5 weeks. How many snow days have there been in those?
He probably thinks that's all we do is plow snow.
Plowing.
Nice.
Oh, welcome.
So that's all I have, unless there's questions for me.
Any questions for the managing director, Commissioner Kennedy?
So the CB liaisons, what is that?
County board.
County board.
Yep.
So that's,
Liaisons.
yep, Commissioner Gisler and Commissioner Mazer. But they're also doing committee assignments as well, so I don't know if they're going to be the new ones after the first of the year, but they are the current ones.
Okay.
So they also do they're going to do they may be doing their leadership meeting stuff tonight at their meeting. I don't know the answer to that. But
Okay. Thank you.
yeah. Any other questions for the managing director? Hearing none. All right, we'll get into commissioner comments in time. Committee reports. Commissioner Kennedy.
So I wanted to say thank you to the team. You guys are amazing, and you, Kim, and Selena do such a good job trying to fix my computer and just work with me and make copies and just make sure that I have the information available so that I can keep up with these guys. So I'm really grateful for that. I just wanted to share that with you. So thank you. And I can't say it enough because without you, I probably would be a mess. So thank you. I also wanted to share, of course, you know that there's that veteran piece. I am a veteran of the United States Army. And this Saturday, December 20th, we are having a Kalamazoo holiday box giveaway. It is for 100 veterans. First come, first serve. All you have to do is prove you're a veteran. You know, I tell people, if not for you, maybe another family member, a neighbor. All you have to do is show that you've served. We're not trying to make it that tough. It is State Representative Julie Rogers and myself, and volunteers and the VFW and Veteran First Board, etc. So there's a lot of people involved there, and it will be at 1000 West Patterson. That is the Douglas Community Association. They have a really neat roundabout, so somebody will check. You go through. We put the turkey and the fixins in your car, and you keep going. No stress, none of that. At least that's the hope and the goal. I haven't had any issues with that, and this is my 4th annual doing this with the state representative. It's just a different location, but I really, it's up to us as community-minded persons to look out for our veterans and our, who have served and, who are unhoused, just might be out there in the street or might not have any food in their homes, etc. So these things are available. That's why we do it every year, just to be sure that there's opportunity. So I just wanted to share that. And my phone number is listed on the Kalamazoo, on the Road Commission of Kalamazoo County website. So if there's a question or something, feel free to reach out. But I am hoping that we can give away 100 food boxes this year. So thank you for that, and happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Kennedy. All right, that'll take us to Commissioner Davis.
We had an EHEC meeting this last week. Jeff Sorensen brought us through another meeting. It was primarily educational for the board, just bringing everyone kind of up to steam what the EHEC was doing, what's some of the so it was primarily just an educational. There wasn't a particular item on the agenda for a resolution or for asking for advice or consent from us. So we kind of got a little more. I got a better understanding of what we're doing and where we're kind of trying to head in the future. That's about it.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. All right, Commissioner Thompson.
I have nothing to report. We do have a Public Works meeting on Thursday at 9 o'clock, and I want to wish everybody a happy holidays. And Kim, my computer is still working even though she touched it.
Touche.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Thompson.
Like it.
Vice Chair Stayhauer.
Okay, I wish everyone happy holidays, and less snow or enough snow, whatever your pleasure is there, huh?
Yes.
County Parks met on December 4. So conducted their meeting well. They're reorganizing for what the fair will be in the future, and have a work group that they're organizing or helping organize to generate that. Interesting item was with electric vehicles, the number or several campers in county parks or people coming are looking for recharging points. And that causes some complications with their power grid, especially the campground. And decision was that EVs will not be recharged in the campground. So that's I did not attend any township meetings the last couple of weeks. I've had a couple of calls from residents or township related, and have followed up with those and forwarded to staff as appropriate. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Vice Chair. Thank you. I want to thank the Vice Chair for getting the gift cards. I appreciate that for the holiday party. Is very thankful. Thank you for doing that. It's very important. I want to thank the team. I know it's been tough out there with the roads and the snow and the wet, heavy snow and the amount of the wet, heavy snow and the fact that it hasn't got warm. I think today is the first time above freezing in
It's still 32 degrees.
3 or 4 weeks. So I know it's been tough out there. A lot of calls, 800 plus service request calls. So thanks to not only our road staff, but our administrative staff for going through all that. Appreciate it very much. So keep up the good work. We have a great operation here. I just want to make sure you all know that. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I will not be here 2 weeks from now. Vice Chair Stayhauer will be running the meeting. But we look forward to exciting 2026. I guess I'll just back up just a little bit on this road funding. And as you're meeting with the township supervisors tomorrow, letting them know what's going on. The good news is we got a road funding deal for the first time in 10 years. But it's only the second road funding deal we've had in 30 years. So it's we're going to ask you to be patient. We just don't know a lot of things yet. So we're just going to have to be patient, wait for things to come through. The good news is we are going to have this neighborhood fund that will allow us to do local roads without a match. So that's the good news, but it's going to be till 2027 before we can get to that. So, continue to work with staff, continue to be patient as we work through all this stuff, and we'll get there. The good news is we do have a road funding deal. So the bad news on top of that is, of course, they took $600 million out of the current road funding deal, and that's what's costing us $1.25 million this year and $5 million next year. So we are going to dip a little bit into our reserves, keep the status quo for next year, but 2027 looks to be a positive, good year. So, all right. Hearing no other business before the board, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved?
Or is there,
So moved, second.
and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Yay. I love it.
All right.
I love it. You know, you see that commercial,
Yeah.
you know, where